As-salamu alaykum, guys. Welcome to our episode
3. We are on episode 3. It seems like episode 1 was like yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, episode 3. Thank you everybody again. We do really appreciate. We've just hit 200 subscribers.
That's right.
Literally just now, so that's amazing.
So thank you so much, guys, everyone,
you.
for supporting us. Inshallah, we will be supporting you guys.
Yeah, and Aunty keeps saying we can't do this without you. So you guys need to help us so that we can help you.
Yeah.
But let's get into it. So what is our Islamic reminder for today? We'll do a big one today. Okay, so this one says, whoever fears Allah, Allah will find a way for him from every difficulty, and he will provide for him from sources that he could never have imagined.
See?
So whoever fears Allah will find a way.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, so we asked you guys, I can't remember when, a couple of days ago, in the last week, to give us scenarios. So we've got all of your scenarios.
No,
Oh, sorry, topics. Yes, topics. I've got scenarios in my head. Yes, we've asked you guys for topics and they're all in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to shake it all up. Auntie's going to pick one and we will be discussing what that one is. Okay, let's see which one she picked. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. Balancing life with deen and like the Western culture.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically what this person meant was obviously the modern Western world, how it is now, and how do you balance deen being in this culture, I guess.
In basically non-Muslim country.
Yeah.
And how you can do your well in your deen.
Yeah, and Islam and things like that. Okay, I guess for me, I would say, because obviously I've been brought up, Auntie was brought up in Pakistan, so really different. But I guess you can talk about maybe bringing up children, so bringing up your kids. But I mean, me being British born, living in UK, I was surrounded, and where we lived as well, because I wasn't surrounded by many Pakistanis or even Bengalis, any Asians. It was mainly white people that I was surrounded by. So I wasn't exposed to Islam other than by my family.
Yeah.
And so I'd go to school, speak English, learn whatever they were learning, how the kids were brought up there, going out with, it's even things like going out with friends. Mum and dad would be like, well, that's not what really we do. Like, they can come to our house, but you're not going to go out. And then, especially when I was maybe age of 16 and 17, a lot of friends would go out and drink or go to the park and they would do all that stuff. And obviously we don't drink and things like that. And I said, Mum, it's fine, I'm not going to go and do that. I'm just going to go chill. But because of the environment, it would be like mum and dad wouldn't want it, and I'm sure you were probably the same.
Yeah.
Didn't really want to be around that situation.
Yeah, मेरा भी यही था कि मेरे बच्चे छोटे थे जब, तो हम जहाँ रह रहे थे वहाँ एशियन कम्युनिटी इतनी नहीं है, तो इस लिहाज से थोड़ा स्ट्रगल था, because I wanted kids to have Asian friends as well, so they can learn a bit more about deen and how our culture is and stuff. But unfortunately, there wasn't many people. इसीलिए फिर हमने घर में मैंने स्टार्ट किया था कुरान मजीद वगैरह छोटी एज से ही, और जो हमारी दीन की चीजें हैं, बेसिक चीजें हैं, वो बचपन से बच्चों को सिखाई की. It's harder because obviously when the kid goes to schools, they have their English friends, and the different culture is different to our deen and our culture, and they get a little bit, obviously, because they do want to spend time with them as well and fit in, and but obviously it depends on the parents as well, how they can manage this, because obviously they don't want them to be separated from the community where they're living. Doesn't matter if it's non-Muslim, but still they are gonna be studying there and they're gonna be living there.
And I think also, like, me growing up as well, I didn't have any Asian friends, so I wasn't interested, I should say, interested in Islam and things like that, because all my friends were interested in going out and doing makeup or, you know, doing that kind of stuff. So that me naturally, being their friend, I was more interested in that. Whereas I think, and I know I've spoken to people who have been surrounded by Asian friends, that they used to go together and pray. They used to go together and do Ramadan together. They used to do things together, and because that's their friends, that's their culture. But me, I didn't have that. So
but according to my experience, they can learn more if they have Asian community and Asian friends, because like Aisha's saying that if she's gonna go with her friends, then they all doing their own culture things. So if she wants to do her culture thing, it looks odd with them.
And also it'd be embarrassing a little bit.
If 10 people are non-Muslim and only 1 or 2 are Asian, it's even 2 are okay, but even you know, it's not as easy for them to learn that deen, and that's why a lot of community, a lot of parents do have struggle with their children growing up, because obviously they can't really help, because they can't stay indoors all the time, and if they go out, they have the other friends who they want to.
Exactly, like going out, you were saying, and just little things that my friends never did, because I didn't have many friends that lived near me. But my brother had friends near him, and they used to come and knock on our door and say, "Oh, do you want to come out and play with us?" And that's not normal. Like, we wouldn't, in our culture, we wouldn't just send our children out. Or I know, like, growing up, my mum and dad didn't just say, "You can go down the road and play," because it just, I don't know what it is, or trust and things like that, obviously.
मैं आपको बताती हूँ कि नफीस छोटा था, तो वो भी इसी तरह फ्रेंड के साथ जाना चाहता था, तो लिमिटेड टाइम देती थी मैं, क्योंकि I can't obviously trust, because I knew कि अपनी कम्युनिटी के बच्चे नहीं हैं उसके साथ, तो हम अपने बच्चों को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए उनको ज्यादा टाइम दूसरे फ्रेंड्स के साथ जाने नहीं देते, which is unfair with these law with them, क्योंकि if they don't have friendship, they don't have socializing with their friends.
And do you know what? It used to get to a point where friends would stop asking me to go out with them, because I'd always say no. Not because I didn't want to go out, but mum and dad were like, "But you have to be back by this time." And I had like a curfew. And then obviously they wanted to stay out till 9 o'clock, and I had to be home by 6, but we left at 5 o'clock.
I remember saying the same thing to Nafis, that by that time and you need to come back, and he says that, but this is the time when they start enjoying and we start having a time, so how can you ask me to come? Soon they start party, or soon they start, you know, enjoying, and it's time for me to leave.
So it's hard actually, and like I used to have like little arguments with mum and dad going, "But that's not fair, like it's not my fault they're planning to be out that time." But again, I can understand now growing up, because I know that I would be like that with my children. But then again,
it's just from parents, it's protection for them.
Of course it is,
to protect them, that they don't go in the society where the bad people or bad, friends are there. So we just want to teach them our deen as well. But it's
also
hard,
things like, for example, like namaz is at certain times, so obviously if we're out at that time you can't read namaz, and then but that's the time everyone's going out. It is hard, because I remember.
But if you have your own community friends,
you can
then
it's
a little bit easier. That because no 1 or 2, but all whoever even know reading namaz or going for that, but they will join the other friends and go to read the namaz. So it's not embarrassing for them to live in that environment. They know that we all are gonna be going to the same place, and we all will be together, and also doing same thing.
As well, not a lot of my friends understood. They didn't understand why my parents were saying no, or why I was saying no. And I used to say like, I then used to do what I used to do. I just can't be bothered. Like, I feel mum has said no to me, or dad has said no to me, but I would say, "Oh, I'm not feeling well. Like, I'm not gonna come." So I wouldn't then blame it on mum and dad. I would just make up an excuse to say why I'm not going out. But then I hated doing that, because that wasn't the reason why I didn't want to go out. It was because they wanted me back an early time and blah blah blah, which is.
But at least now you understand that what was the reason behind it, why they was stopping me to stay
Yeah.
late outside or things like that. So
Yeah.
it's in different environment, with the different community. It's harder to brought up the children and making them to be closer to their deen is hard.
And
But
also
we
in
can
school
only
as
try.
well, because religion, I mean, they do teach all religions, but it's mainly Christianity because obviously a lot of the, especially when, depending on what area you live in, a lot of the RE is focused on Christianity. Like Christmas play is all about the Jesus and angels and all that. But also we don't believe in that. And I used to take part in it because Mum again didn't want us to feel left out. And it was just a school play. She didn't see it as like a religious thing. It was just a school play. But there are some kids that parents don't want them to join in.
That's right.
And then they feel left out because the whole class and they're the only one. And it's happened, I've taught children where there's one girl, so there was 3 of them and they were all in Key Stage 1. No, what, 2 of them, so Key Stage 1. And Mum, they were strict Christians and they didn't agree with the Christmas play we were doing because it didn't match their views, which is fine because obviously everyone has their own views. And so she said, I don't want them to be part of the Christmas play.
I had the same situation in my school when I was working as in a nursery. There was a parent who didn't wanted their child to be attending any of festival, any of the places where the other countries celebrate. So we always had to do something separate for her, and we always arranged the activity which she could do, one of the staff.
Yeah.
But
I think
we feel
I felt bad, and I think when I have children, inshallah, that I will let them be involved in all that, but I will teach them that that's not what we believe in.
Yeah, parents should understand that this is the different thing they're learning. It's about the world. It's about the all other countries, and how they celebrate their
and also
things.
Respecting other cultures as well.
That's right.
Because obviously we don't celebrate Christmas, but I'm not going to stop the child from joining in the Christmas play because one, as a teacher, I know how much time goes into the Christmas play, which means, and say for example, I said no to my child and they can't. That means for about 2-3 weeks of the school time, they won't be with their friends basically.
And also by involving in their culture thing that isn't mean that they are going to be non-Muslim or they are going to be accepting their culture or their religion. It's just the part of learning.
And exactly it is. And also I would say as well, a lot of the time, I'm just using this example, Christmas play, in my last Christmas play that I did with my class, I had a music band. Do you remember I was telling you about the children I had? And for example, so as a parent, I can say, can they be a part of that? So they're not going to be involved in all of the Christmas production and doing the actual, the religious side of it, but they can be hitting an instrument as part of it. So there is ways where if you really don't want your child to be involved, then maybe say, can they just be part of the lights team, or can they be part of making the costumes? So they're still part of something.
Yeah.
So the child, because again, that child is only 5 years old. They are still learning. They're still trying to understand their religion as well as how they're living the culture that they're living in.
And also for them, the time comes where somebody asks, like for example, you are a teacher now, and somebody asks you about different culture. If you have learned through your study, through your experience, you will be able to let others more know that how much you learned from that culture or from that whatever they taught you. So you will be showing to others as well.
Exactly.
So,
and then also it can come to a time where, and now a lot of schools do this, where they celebrate other religions too.
Yeah, they do.
And like Eid is such a big thing. In London this year they put the lights up for
even
Eid
schools as well now. We are allowed to take the henna and show them, or the clothes what we wear.
I've done that.
I've done that as well with my school children. That we show them what our dress is and what things we celebrate and what festival we have through the year, and that sort of things.
When it comes to Ramadan,
before we wasn't allowed, but now we are.
Yeah, but I think the world is becoming more accepting of other cultures, other religions. Because even someone said about you know, the LGBTQ community, which is like gays, lesbians. Someone said they weren't going to send their child to school because of that. Because now in school, this is going a bit off topic, but in schools they're now we're teaching them about that, because there are people out there who are that. And again, obviously we don't believe in that, but as Muslims, and there are other religions as well that don't believe in that, but there are lots of people who do. But what I said to her was, but you can't stop your child from going to school. You teach her that, look, we don't believe in that, but there are people who are gay, who are lesbians, who do get married to the same gender, and there are this and that, whatever, and that's okay, and that's what they believe in, and that's that. But as a Muslim, this is what we believe in, and you just be respectful, because as an Islam, it doesn't say be disrespectful to others. Just, you know, you don't have to be friends with them if you don't want to be, but, you know, just be respectful. But in terms of, we have enough of a bit of topic, but in terms of deen and things like that, how did you find it? So obviously you were born in Pakistan, so you had all of that anyway. But bringing up Nafis and Baji, did you find it difficult?
Like I said, that from start, there were three. Nafis was 3 years and 6 months when he finished Quran. I taught him at home.
3 years?
Yeah, 3 years and 4 months. No, sorry.
3 years old.
Sorry, 6 years.
I was gonna say, oh my god.
6 years and 6 months. Sorry.
Yeah.
6 years and 6 months, and Rani was 6 years and 10 months.
Oh wow.
So when they, mashallah, read the Quran, and while they were going in bed, I was teaching them all surahs and stuff like that. So, but again, because they didn't have any community other than one cousin that time, had. So they only had one cousin, and it was hard for them. But obviously, at home, I was teaching them Quran. I was teaching them how to read namaz and stuff, wherever I could. And even there was a little community center there where there was Maulvi Saab who was teaching them, so I was sending them there as well. But how much we can
you could
make them to closer to our deen, we do as a parent. But obviously, again, it comes to the effort of child as well. But alhamdulillah, mine did take interest, and they did learn a lot. And Nafisa even tried to learn Surah Yasin by heart, which my husband taught him, and he was learning, and then he started Surah Rahman. But now these days he's quite busy. He haven't been practicing it, so I think half of it he's forgotten, which is not good. But how much we as a parent we can make them to closer to our deen, we should. And
but did you ever get scared that, like, oh, what happens if they never, because of where we live and where going to school and the friends that he had, did you ever think, what happens if both Baji and Nafis?
To start with, yes, I was, but alhamdulillah, again, because when I was teaching them, I started from 3 years and 3 months, I was a bit confused about. So I knew that they were interested and they were learning. And I never had any restriction for them to go, they were having friends, but again, they used to come and out, like you said, that your mom didn't allow you to go to them, but their friend was allowed to come in and play with them, like PlayStation and things like that. But
because I think, like, when I have children and how I bring them up, knowing how I was brought up, obviously I was brought up really well, but in terms of like deen and things like that, it's just things like I didn't always, like, mum and dad pray, but I didn't always see them pray, for example. Whereas I feel like it's really important, because when a child is even at the age of 1, or even at the age of 6 months or age of 5, they're picking up, they learn. That's up until the 0 to 5 years old, a child will absorb everything that you do. So if I was to swear all the time, naturally the child is gonna they're gonna
adapt so
if you're
especially bad things, they adapt quicker.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to say is that I feel like I am probably a little bit scared that maybe they might, depends on what way they will go, but I do believe that if us as a family, me and Hafiz, obviously you guys as well, because we're all together, we are reading namaz all the time, we're doing this, we do go and see family, we do haddams, we do all of these like religious things, you know, and Eid, we celebrate Eid, making Eid such a big thing because Christmas is such a big thing. I remember as a child, I used to want to celebrate Christmas more than I wanted to celebrate Eid because everything was Christmas. You know how big Christmas is, obviously, even now, but Eid wasn't as big as Christmas. So I think
and again, because you didn't have many friends who would celebrate with you,
I was the only
but
person.
for Christmas you will have.
Yeah.
So
and like Christmas holidays and things like that. Obviously, in this country, we don't have Eid holidays. You can take off time for Eid, but that's just that one day. It's not like a whole week off. Obviously, when you go to Muslim countries, it's different. But anyway, so I feel like if we are doing that, if I'm doing that, not necessarily every single person, but if they're seeing at least their mum and dad doing, you know, reading namaz and reading the Quran, they're doing this. You know, mum wears the hijab and things like that. Again, my mum doesn't wear. She now does here and there, but she doesn't. She didn't growing up. So again, for me, I was like, well, my mum doesn't wear the hijab, so why do I need to? So it does make a big difference, and I've seen it. I've seen one of my mum, her neighbour, her daughter. She's 4 years old, I think, 4 years old. And her mum wears a hijab, mum reads 5 times a day, she's Quran, she's very Islamic. And she came to our mum's house the other day and she said, it's haram to listen to music. So she's telling us, like, that's not okay and you need to go read namaz and that's what you should do. That's good because that's then they're going to grow up and it's all automatically in their brain that, yes, we shouldn't be listening to namaz, or when the azan goes off, you need to be silent, or this, and you're learning from your children. I was speaking to my cousin as well, and she said she's sending her daughter to somebody who teaches her about Islam, and not just the Quran, but what does the Quran say, all the du'as, like all the words and things like that. And she goes, since she's been going, I've been learning from her because she's telling me, because like I said, her mum didn't teach her all these things, or her parents didn't teach her, so she didn't know. But now she's learning from her daughter.
No, it's normal to learn from your children as well. Like myself, I taught her Quran Majid, I taught them namaz and stuff, but I didn't read Bahashti's ever. It's called the Islamic book.
Yeah.
And Rani did read it. She was quite interested in reading books, so she bought the Bahashti's ever as well. And she learned a lot of things from that book. And when she was learning, and if I did something which was in that book, Islamic book, she told me, oh mom, this is not right in Islam. And I was learning from her. So it's normal that, you know, if your child, but obviously as a parent you do get overprotected for them to, you know, not to go in wrong environment or in wrong society. So that's why we try to stop. So your generation, if they think that, you know, why our parents is stopping, not yours now, but younger generation, they think, if they think that, you know, parents are doing the wrong thing by stopping them to spend time with their friends and stuff, they should understand that.
But I think parents should explain why, because a lot of parents
that's what I was going to say, that until they explain to their children, they can't stop themselves. They're gonna think wrong about you or will be against their parents and do those things which they're stopping for. So it's best that you explain to your children why we stopping you for certain reasons, certain things. So that's how they can learn and understand.
Because if my child said to me, but mummy, why can't I go sleep at my friend's house, for example, and I'll say, well, if they've got brothers there, as a girl, Muslim girl, you're not allowed to, you know, explaining. If I just said no because I said so, then she's going to say, well, that's not fair, you know. So you have to explain and say, because in our religion it teaches us to do this, and she can come to our house, but that's fine because she's not a Muslim or whatever, she's not a Muslim. But you got to explain, I think. Or even things like, why can't we eat pork? You know, in Islam, we're not allowed to.
So until we explain to children, they're not going to understand.
And there's even things like, why can't I have a boyfriend? Because, you know, again, it's just saying no but because you always have to be able to give a reason. Because like as a teacher, when you go to school, you get taught how to do the maths equation and explained how. It's the same with our religion. Is explain, give. I don't know. Oh, you might not know this, but in English, you always give point something, evidence, explain. Yeah, point, evidence, explain. So you have the point. So when you do your English exams, you have a point, you then explain the point, and then give the evidence.
Okay.
So I see that as teaching your children.
Right.
You give a point, you explain, and then the evidence is the Quran says.
Quran says, yeah.
So that is your evidence.
That's right.
So I feel like you should apply that method, PEE, for those of you who know what I mean. Apply that effort, apply that method when explaining things to the younger generation or younger siblings, or as a parent, like for example you telling me this is not right because what's your point? Explain why, give me evidence. And then I'll be like, oh, okay, that makes sense as to why.
But now these days it's a lot of difference than before. Like even my generation or older than my generation, people wasn't even reciting Quran as regular or wasn't as close as to that deen. But now a lot of difference is that even all the generation, a lot of people do recite Quran Majid, do read namaz, and do have a lot of more knowledge than before.
Yeah.
So they can, and then when they practice those things at home, that like you saying that your neighbor's daughter is learning from, because her mom is practicing deen and she's learning from it.
Yeah.
And you guys didn't, because our generation wasn't as strict as now these days.
And obviously you probably just learned from your mum and dad.
Yeah.
And they learned from their mum and dad. So they didn't have the evidence.
Yeah.
Like I was saying about the evidence, they didn't have that. Whereas me now, I can go and look for the evidence.
And maybe that was the reason when we were stopping our children not to go out or live because we didn't have knowledge ourselves that what to say to children, how we can explain, because that's what we learned from, and this was our mindset that we're not gonna let our children, because we wasn't allowed to go out with friends or stay over with our friends, so our children's not allowed. We didn't even have that knowledge to explain to our children. But now, because there's a lot of knowledge people have.
And it's also not even that you didn't have the knowledge. You probably didn't have access to things like the internet as easily as it is now.
No.
And like the Quran was just probably only written in Arabic. There wasn't really many English translations or Urdu translations.
No, you are 100% right, because obviously technology is that much now that if you have any question about deen or about anything, you just Google it. Quickly search it.
But we do this all the time, don't we? Sometimes
we never had that.
Sometimes when we're talking, I'll be like, I'll actually Google it, and then be like, oh yeah, it does say that, and then we've got the evidence.
But it wasn't our generation's fault as well, because जो कुछ हमने उस वक्त सीखा था अपने पेरेंट्स से, अपने वालिदैन से, हमने उसी को अप्लाई किया. हमने कोशिश की कि हम अपने पेरेंट्स से पूछें, या क्योंकि हमने एज ए रिस्पेक्ट नेवर उनसे क्वेश्चन करना मुनासिब भी नहीं समझा था. हमारा माइंड सेट था कि वट एवर हमारे पेरेंट्स बोल रहे हैं हमने उसी पे अमल करना है, हमने जिसका नाम उसको फॉलो करना है. और फिर हम यही चाह रहे थे कि हमारे चिल्ड्रन भी, हमारे बच्चे भी यही करें कि वट एवर हम कह रहे हैं उनसे, दे जस्ट फॉलो. बट नो, बिकॉज यू लर्न अ लॉट फ्रॉम टेक्नोलॉजी एंड ऑल द वर्ल्ड, डिफरेंट सोर्सेज से आप लोगों ने सीखा है कि हमने अपना वॉइस करना है, मत पूछना है, कुछ भी हमें जानना है तो हमने पूछना है अपने पेरेंट्स से कि अगर हमें किसी बात से रोका जा रहा है तो क्यों रोका जा रहा है. तो आप लोगों ने अपनी आवाज उठाई और आप
and that's what it is. A lot of it has come down from that, and it's still, even some people in our generation are still treating their children like that because they've not gone and researched or done that. But actually now, especially now, even you can still do it. You can now go and research things that you're not sure about and research, and then be able to say, oh, okay, this is what I found, and this is what I've heard, and this is what I've read. So this is why I believe it.
लेकिन फिर भी a lot of people हैं जो कि फोन को
Yeah.
इस्तेमाल करना नहीं जानते,
Yeah, no.
सर्च करना नहीं जानते हमारी जनरेशन के, तो वो फिर भी सर्च करके कुछ एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर सकते बच्चों
But then
के
they should
साथ।
be asking. I think they should.
हाँ,
I think they should still ask their daughters or sons.
यही हमें शर्मिंदा नहीं होना चाहिए कि
Yeah.
हमें कुछ पता नहीं था. We shouldn't be embarrassed about
No.
that कि we couldn't teach our children or we couldn't explain to
I
them,
think
but
some
we,
elders they don't
They
want to
do.
admit to.
that's
I
right.
didn't know, so that's why I said no to you. Or and I feel like if they did, maybe it might have changed things because the kids might be like, oh, actually, mum and dad don't really know. They can't. Maybe I should go and research.
लेकिन ये भी है कि they feel disrespected if बच्चे पूछते हैं. हमारी
Yeah, but
जनरेशन
they
में ये था, it
shouldn't.
shouldn't.
No.
इसीलिए मैं ये बोल रही हूँ कि हम लोग ये समझते हैं कि ये अगर बच्चे हमसे कुछ पूछेंगे या उसकी एक्सप्लेनेशन मांग रहे हैं तो ये रॉन्ग है. ये रॉन्ग नहीं है.
Yeah.
ये उनका हक है. ये वो पूछ रहे हैं. उनके जरिए हमें भी वो नॉलेज
Yeah.
मिल रहा है. हमें भी वो चीज पता चल
And
रही
no
है
one's
कि
perfect.
yeah.
No, I'm not perfect. Auntie's not perfect. No one's perfect. We can only try to be better Muslims.
Yeah.
And by trying is by research. You can research.
Yeah.
The older generation. And if you're not sure how to use a mobile phone, for example, you do. But if you didn't, you can then say to me, Aisha, can you find out for me?
Yeah.
Or can you buy me a book where I can
Like,
read?
there's
Yeah.
lots of things which I don't know how to do. I do ask
Yeah.
you on the feast that
Or
you
like
know
you
how
should
to.
listen to somebody.
If people who doesn't know anything about that, how to go and search or do these things, you can ask children.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong
No.
with that. Asking them or
And you've sent your children to go and be educated.
Yeah.
So use that to your advantage. That
That's right.
look, they're educated, so I can ask them now. Actually,
And we can get benefit from it as
Yeah.
well, that by sending them and making
Yeah.
them educated.
exactly.
So-
If you've sent your children, if you're an elder generation, you've sent your children to go and study and be a doctor or be this and be that, then you shouldn't be ashamed if they're saying, "Mum, that's wrong. This is what it's saying," and learn from that. And same with the younger generation. If the adult actually has done their research.
And they're telling or explaining
Yeah.
to you, you should go from
Yeah.
there and you should listen to them
Yeah.
as well.
Listen
They
to
are going to be telling you things for your benefit as well.
Yeah.
And you should
And
listen to
protection
them and
as well.
respect them. Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously as a parent, I'm not a parent, but I know as a parent, if my child is like, "Oh, but I just don't want you to, because I don't want you to get hurt, or I don't want you to be involved in bad people," like naturally, like even like Nafis sometimes when he goes out, I'm like, "Please text me," like, he goes,
Yeah.
Aisha, I'm old enough. I'm like, "Yeah, no, but you just have that natural protection
That's
towards
right,
people." But it's been over half an hour. We've been talking, and that was a good one actually, because
Yeah.
that could go on we could talk about so many different things.
That's right. And
from-
we're not perfect as well. We only
Yeah.
talking according to our experience or whatever we know.
Yeah.
So
Well, obviously we don't know everything.
Yeah.
There might be something that we might have said may be wrong, and if it is, then obviously let us know. We can do our research
that's right.
and
yeah.
we can be better as well. But yeah, thank you again
Yeah,
for
thank you very
listening.
much for
This has been
listening.
episode 3, and please make sure to subscribe, share, like, comment, follow us.
And again, because we need your help to help you guys, so support us and help us, and so we can help you guys
Yes.
to learn more about this world and more about the things which you don't know already.
Yeah.
So inshallah,
And
with
obviously
your support, we will
learn about us as well, our
and
relationship.
we will be learning from you guys.
Yeah,
a lot.
inshallah.
Inshallah.
Should we read the thing again one last time? Finish off. So again, I'm going to repeat. Whoever fears Allah, Allah will find a way out for him from every difficulty, and he will provide for him from sources that he could never have imagined. Oh, I do actually want to say just before we go, someone mentioned about sound quality and that it might not be great, and we know that, so we are looking into getting microphones. So inshallah, I don't know when, but maybe in the next season 2, we'll hopefully inshallah have microphones, and the sound quality will be a lot better.
Inshallah.
We are just starting, so bear with us.
That's right.
But no, thank you
Thank
again.
you very much for watching us.
And we'll see you next time, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah.
Allah
Allah Hafiz.
Hafiz.